When I first came to New York to work on the United Nations headquarters, I thought of the project as an abstract engineering problem. We were going to clear an area of 6 blocks over by the East River and put a building up on it. I'd never thought of the area as a neighborhood, a place where people had lived and worked for many years. I was surprised to find that they were used to it the way it was. They didn't seem to realize that a big change was in the making, a change that would affect them all. It certainly never occurred to me that some of the natives might have different ideas about what we were planning to do here.
A fence, can't you see?
A fence? What for?
To keep you fellas and girls out.
To keep us out? We've been here for years. It's our playground. You hear that? He's going to take our playground away.
I'm sorry, but in 3 weeks' time, this place is going to be as flat as a pancake.
Let's go to 46. Yeah, let's go to 46.
No.
The 2nd Avenue boys nicked you, huh?
Huh? This is real serious.
Let's have it.
They chased us away. They did not chase us away. They're just putting fences all over the place. And pretty soon everything is going to be as flat as a pancake.
But you kids knew that would happen? I told you about it and about the United Nations.
Oh, let them keep their United Nations. We want our playground back.
Yeah, what do we need the United Nations here for anyway?
Keep people from fighting with each other. You know, like the old Indian peace pipe.
I get it. It's like trying to bury the hatchet.
Of course, I'm an old timer. I won't see the benefits of it, but you kids win, I hope.
All right, but can't they go somewhere else?
I think it's a great honor for us.
Yeah, but what'd they pick on our block for?
Well, it's a long story, I guess. They didn't just pick it out of a hat.
I should say not. They had the whole world to choose from.
But why do they have to pick on us?
Yes, why do they have to take our playground?
Well, in December 1946, when the delegates couldn't seem to agree on whether to go to Boston or Philadelphia or San Francisco, or to accept New York's permanent gift of Flushing Meadows.
How do you know all this?
Because I'm a simultaneous interpreter with the United Nations.
A what? A simultaneous? Well, that explains everything.
Then Mr. Rockefeller helped out with these 6 blocks here, where you had your playground. The deal was signed, and the 6 blocks were solemnly turned over to the United Nations.
Packaroli's.
Yeah.
Say, there any good eating places around here? I'll be around for quite a while. I've been on the billing of the United Nations.
Hey, wait a minute. You're building the headquarters?
Well, not all by myself. A couple of thousand other fellas in on this. I'm just one of the engineers.
Maybe you could tell us all about it.
Sure.
What's wrong?
Well, now, all I know is what they're putting up and why. Well, the General Assembly elected a committee to advise the Secretary General on the planning. They agreed to call in one of America's leading architects, Wallace K. Harrison, to take charge. And instead of conducting the usual international competition, the committee decided to set up an international board of famous architects and engineers to work out the grand plan as a team. The United Nations idea of international cooperation was put to a practical test. So we went to work. But don't get the idea from what I told you yesterday that these famous architects sat right down and started dreaming up beautiful buildings. Why, before they could draw a line, they had to know what we call requirements. In other words, what sort of an organization were we building for? How big should headquarters be? What kind of buildings do they need? How many people would be working in them? And, well, what kind of work each person would be doing? That's what we call requirements. Now, look, I'll show you. Now, take this little office worker, for instance. He's an average size. Say he needs space for his desk. Space to move around in. To work in, to breathe in. For all of this, he needs about 100 square feet. But there are going to be about 4,400 people in the staff of the Secretariat. That's 10 acres just for office space. It would cover 4 of the 6 blocks on the site. And what about corridors, washrooms, storerooms, dining rooms, heating, lighting, air conditioning, and office machinery? So the Secretariat just had to be stacked up in a high building, with maybe only 100 persons on a floor. But that's only one part of the headquarters. We had to make room for the General Assembly. This meant providing space for a speaker and his audience. The speaker must be seen, and he must be heard. So we had to plan for an auditorium, seating 1,000 delegates and observers, 1,000 public spectators, and hundreds of newspapermen. In addition, soundproof booths or interpreters, television, radio, and motion pictures. Booths with a clear view of speaker and audience. And this takes up actual ground space, where you can't stand an auditorium up on its end. Besides the General Assembly, there have to be other places for the representatives to gather, face to face, to discuss, debate, and agree. 3 council chambers, 4 big conference rooms, and 18 other committee rooms for smaller committees. It seemed a good idea to put them all in a single building. The 4th and last part of the headquarters was something for the future. Someday, other international organizations would want to have headquarters on the same site. We would give them another tall office building, without taking up too much ground. But this wasn't all we had to get into the site. There had to be sidewalks and streets, parking space for thousands of cars, and just plain free space.
After the architects found out what was to go on in the headquarters, they had to decide what the buildings were to look like. And then they began to draw their plans. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's right. And now came the biggest test of all. Here were men from different nations, with different languages, traditions, methods, ideas. Could they work together? Some people said it was impossible, that the result would be a monstrosity, a modern Tower of Babel. Well, they were wrong. The differences turned out not to be important. The important thing was that they all had a common purpose. They were all working together to achieve the same thing, and so they worked well together. Each attacked the problems in his own way. Many plans were conceived and discarded. But when the idea was right, when the plan was good, everyone agreed to it. And each good idea was added to the others, the way one brick is laid upon another. And the building grew and took shape. And the shape was not the shape of a fortress. It was not a design for war. It was a shape for peace. Very simple, very secure. Having no dark or secret places inside it, but many windows through which one could see the rest of the world outside and keep it constantly in mind.
Have United Nations, and I sure am proud that they're having it here in New York. But why didn't they ask us first? We liked it here where we used to play. And if they asked us first and we said no, they should have went somewhere else.
You know, George, if the United Nations would have acted like this when they were founded, the war wouldn't be over yet. Do you think they all agreed right in the beginning, when you Americans should start the invasion, or the French their resistance, or we Russians our big offensive? Sure, we all wanted to be asked first and make our own decisions. But then we did get together. And that's what the whole United Nations is about. To get together and talk things over.
Why don't we go there ourselves and find out how they do it?
Yeah, why don't we?
I know. Let's go to Lake Success.
Can I help you?
We thought we'd like to make a complaint.
Complain? Complain about what?
They took our playground away from us. That ain't fair.
Playground? What playground? Tell me more.
She don't know nothing but our playground.
Look, lady, we're talking about the playground on 47th Street. We're playing there peacefully, minding our own business, and along you came and drove us out. But we've been playing there before you were even born. Sure, you need the space, but couldn't you ask us? What kind of organization is this anyway?
Come with me and I will show you.
¿Cómo podría hacerles comprender la urgencia, la desesperante necesidad que tienen los niños del mundo de hoy? Las heridas de la tierra cicatrizan muy lentamente. Los efectos de la guerra se hacen ver de una manera horrible en los cuerpecitos débiles y las mentes torturadas. El hambre hace estragos en la pequeña humanidad de estos niños. Y tras el hambre vienen las enfermedades que cobran vidas por millares. Los niños caen muertos en las calles y son recogidos por docenas en
la
días
faim suit la maladie qui prélève un lourd tribut. Les enfants...
В громадных, слабо развитых районах голод терзает маленькие детские тела, заставляет их кричать.
我们所看见的残废中不健全的身体
Bodies of infants and makes them cry out. And in the wake of hunger comes disease, taking a dreadful toll. Children lie dead in the gutters and are gathered by the score each morning.
Tomorrow, thousands more will die, unless they get help. What is all this?
Well, you see, I've made up my mind that I'm not too old after all, and maybe I'll live to see the United Nations work. And I just wanted to do my part. With all this construction work going on and all the foreigners coming in and business picking up.
You mean you actually speak Russian and French and all the other languages?
Well, no, but they do, don't they?
It's okay, we found out. We had a long talk with the boss out there.
Oh, and what did you tell him?
We told him that we finally decided to give up our playground after all.
After all, we wouldn't want to hold it the works.
The works?
Yeah, the works.
And so the work of demolition began. The shattered walls and rubble reminded some of cities devastated by bombs. And it was good to think that this was not war, but progress. The technical skill of men being used to tear down old outmoded structures, planning in their place to build something new and beautiful.